Well, it says we're live, so let's hope so. All right, welcome live from the crossroads of America, a talk show about guns, politics, or anything else that crosses my mind. Answer questions from the audience, either put them in the chat or email me at rickslifeasiseeit at gmail.com. Excuse me, or spottedrick at gmail.com. I have a Patreon page. The all the information's down below there on YouTube's. The audio file will be on Podbean, Stitcher, and iTunes within 24 hours of the show ending. Okay, let's see who I got in the chat. First in was Southpaw RX, Jason Stewart, Ozzy Osbourne. Who else we got? Raphael's here. So they're creeping in slowly but surely. And right now, my one panel member, I hope more joins, is Squibload. How you doing, Squib?
Doing pretty good, Rick. Thanks for the invite. Hello to everybody out there in YouTube land.
You got any topic you want to talk about?
Well, there was one thing I talked to you off air about a couple weeks ago, but we really didn't go into detail about it, and I don't even know how to integrate it. But I've got a coworker whose husband had a stroke, and we never talked about him going out to the gun range. And I know you do mostly with disabilities. You discuss shooting or concealed carry aspects, but you do sometimes discuss other things like mobility or transportation or I guess what Americans with Disability Act and stuff. But I'm just wondering if somebody experiences that, are they all done shooting or not? She was talking to me about it, and it got me thinking about that because my stepdad suffered one years ago, and what had happened was him and I had a falling out, and it was just over a misunderstanding. It was absolutely stupid. And when I got my head out of my ass and started talking to him again, and we started comparing notes, we realized that years had gone by over nothing. It was literally, if we had just talked to each other, none of that time would have been lost. And my stepdad liked to go skeet shooting and trap shooting. The only time I've ever gone skeet and trap shooting is with him. It's the most shotgun experience I have. Shotgun's my weak point. Well, he was retired from Ford, and every Sunday he went out skeet and trap shooting religiously. And we said, all right, next weekend we'll start doing this together. I'm like, oh, this is going to be so much fun. And in a couple days he had a stroke, and he could never shoot a gun again. He couldn't go fishing again. He couldn't drive his truck anymore. He couldn't, and all the stuff he liked to do. And with my coworker talking to me about her situation with her husband, it got me wondering if that is definitely something where, well, you know what? I did have a coworker once. He was in his 30s. He wasn't 70, and he had a stroke, and he was in bad shape for a couple of years, but he got back into shooting. So I suppose if you had it young enough, you might be able to recover where you can shoot. But if you're of a certain age, it might make it difficult, or it may be impossible. I mean, it's kind of interesting, with was it Ron? To come on talking about how his product helps people with disabilities to be able to shoot. So I started thinking about that too, and I'm not some sort of neurosurgeon, so I don't understand all of the science and medicine of it and whatnot. But just I don't know, that's some sort of disability thing that maybe if we can't discuss it today, that's fine. But maybe somewhere down the road, if nobody knows about it, maybe we'll get somebody on the show who's maybe recovered from one and it can explain how they were able to get back to the range, or if they had to go from right-handed to left-handed, or hell, I don't know how it works. But I know we're doing show prep here on air, but I mean, does that sound like something we might be able to get back to in the future?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Or if anybody out there who's listening knows anything about this or has any experience, send Rick an email, spottedrick at gmail.com, and maybe we can get you on the show, or you could at least maybe send an email explaining some stuff about that, because like I said, the coworker here, we weren't talking about her husband going to the range, but we were trying to talk about different things that you know they could do to mitigate some of the issues that come with it, because it does make it difficult. She's here at work on second shift with me, and then she goes home. She's totally out of sync with the rest of the world as far as her schedule, and she's got to have the energy to help take care of him, and it's kind of difficult.
Oh yeah, yeah. Anyway, New York Outcast has joined us. How you doing, buddy?
Hello, doing better. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Yeah, it's a good topic. We'll keep that in the background. Use that on a Wednesday on the disability show. But I mean, but you're right. I mean, when you get hurt or injured or have something like that, I mean, because of my back, I had to give up riding motorcycles. And of course my hips too. Didn't have the strength to hold the machines up anymore. I could have gone to a trike, but I couldn't afford one. So,
that's something I haven't considered either, because I want to get back into riding, and right now everything's good. I mean, I've never had arthritis cause my hands to seize up when I'm on the throttle or anything else like that, but I suppose it could happen. In addition to, if it creeps into my back eventually, I've been told it will, that could be a problem, and I'd sure like to be able to ride for a while if I can.
Yeah. A guy that comment said, hook me up to a motor scooter, a mount an AR to it, and hook up the trigger for a button for me to push. Yeah, that's one way of getting around it.
Now, if you think about it, you could put it on a pencil mount, like on the back of a Jeep or something, and you could put a spade grip on it, like on a Ma Deuce, on a 50 cal, and that would do it. That would do the job.
Yeah. All right. You got anything you want to talk about, New York Outcast? Any topics?
I was just curious. I missed part of the initial topic there, with Squid trying to figure out something with shooting with somebody after a stroke.
Well, no. So I'm somebody who just doesn't have a lot of experience with disabilities, and don't really have anything to add to the show when it comes to that sort of thing. And I was talking with a coworker. She's about my age, and she works the same shift as I do, and her husband had a stroke. And it makes a lot of things really difficult on her, especially being kind of off schedule with the rest of the world, but also just taking care of him and stuff. We never really talked about shooting. I mean, I don't know if she knows I'm a gun guy or not, but, I was like, hey, there's something I have a little bit of. I've known two people who have had strokes, but that's it. And a coworker, a former manager, and my stepdad. And with my stepdad and him, they both like to go shooting. And one of them had a stroke young enough that he was able to get back into it, but the other one didn't. But I know that sometimes Rick talks about disabilities, and it's not always with direct bearing to shooting. It's other things that you can do. And I was just, because of that, I was thinking, well, maybe I might learn something off the show that I can relay to my coworker to maybe help her take care of her husband. But it's just one of those things that I don't know a whole lot about, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was gonna say my mom's had 2 strokes, so I know due to this experience that there's 2 different types of strokes, and so they'll. Obviously they affect men and women a little bit differently, and each type is different as well. So, I definitely would be a individual-based thing. But I think if they were a shooter and they had the mobility, they probably wouldn't mind.
Now, go on.
Mental stuff is still there, so depending, which way things went. But yeah, I don't have much to help you with. I deal with somebody that's had a stroke, and I've noticed slight differences. But thankfully, in my mom's case, she's even afterward was still quite functional. And if you didn't know her, you wouldn't really know there was any difference. So I guess it depends on the level or degree.
See, I was kind of wondering if it was more of an age thing. If you have one at a younger age, can you bounce back because your body's still, younger versus having one at an older age? But I just don't know enough about it because the only two people I know, one guy was 39, and after a couple of years he bounced back, and the other person is 70, and after a couple of years he died. So, I don't know enough about it, but that's about the most that I've had. It was about 2 weeks ago she was talking to me about it here at work, and I had no idea and stuff, and she was just looking for any kind of pointers on anything that might help with I think it was just kind of the stress of working a full-time job and then going home and taking care of him, and with his condition, there's not a lot he can do. And I was like, well, I know some disabled guys. Maybe they know something. None of them have a stroke, but maybe they know. I mean,
Yeah, well, we got on the shooting side, there's a guy in the Clinton Stone said, after my stroke, I started back with a 22. Oh, Patriot in the Dark has joined us. How you doing, buddy?
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good to see you.
Good afternoon.
You got any topic you want to bring up or anything? Almost an open forum today,
I would just say hello to Clinton. He's new. I haven't heard that name.
No, I haven't either.
So,
Yeah.
So welcome.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Welcome to the show. Glad you're here. All right. So, as in my title, I can't remember what I said. Where do we start, or what can we say, or whatever? I mean, it's been a strange week, I think, news-wise. Most of the news is being taken up with, the Democratic primaries and all that kind of stuff, and Bloomberg getting caught out calling because he's a racist because of stop and frisk and all this kind of stuff. Then the latest thing now they're bringing out is Clinton that Bloomberg's going to ask Hillary to be vice president or some shit. So that could be with his money and the amount of people that voted for her in the last election, that could work, for them, I'm saying,
Possible. I personally don't see it going over too well. I don't see many people that really care for Hillary anymore. So, my opinion, I think her big pipe is kind of past. But yeah, that's just my.
Well, yeah, I think Bernie's time's passed too. But
so I would see that as being, I wouldn't want her if I was Bloomberg. I can state that because, if so happen it does work out, how's that guy ever going to sleep? Something's going to happen to him. So. Doesn't seem very wise.
Yeah. No, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's because we were talking about this the other day. I mean, because we sort of like keep an eye on the sort of like Second Amendment side of politics a lot and stuff. I don't see how, with his record on gun control, how he's ever going to make it. But hell, I don't know. We say that. I mean, look at Virginia. That all-out sort of like assault weapons ban is gone to the Senate floor. And that passes. It goes from there. It already passed the House. So it passes the Senate. It goes to Blackface Northam to sign. And it's pitiful. It's a shame. And hopefully we need somebody to take him to court saying it's illegal. It's unconstitutional. So I don't know. It's a strange world out there. It's a strange world. It's a strange country right now. I mean, you got the young people who want to be socialists, and I mean, Bernie and his crowd are making it sound fantastic. But since they don't teach world history, because I believe I was sitting here in one of my chats here, and I brought world history up, and somebody says, "Why in the hell do us as Americans want to worry about what's going on in the rest of the world?" Well, if
No.
you did, you would know what socialism is and what it does.
Yeah, I think that was actually, it wasn't the history, it was geography. We don't care where they're at. I think that was that question, though. History, yes, of course. We have to know.
Yeah, I don't care where they're at unless I'm getting deployed there.
Yeah.
Which way is the mail going heading back home? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Well,
I mean, the young people seem to think socialism is going to be this great new thing. It's
Well, they're
been
used to it
around,
at home.
for a long time, and it doesn't work.
If you're a kid and you're at home and you're under 18, I'd say a good portion of the United States, the children that are raised by people that think that way, they pretty much feel they already live in socialism, because anything they want, their parents give them. They don't have to work, so they get stuff for free. So, I mean, that in itself, they've got a demented view of socialism, because they think, hey, that's how it is at home. I don't have to do anything. I just say, throw a fit and cry, and I can get, game cards and a phone, and, oh, I don't have the newest phone. I just cry and I get it for free. I don't have to do anything. So it's not right. Don't get me wrong. That's not right. But that falls back on parents.
What I want to know is, once we're giving away all this free cheese again, right? And everything's free, and the money finally runs out, then what happens? Because you can only take from people for so long until they don't have any left to give.
The Soviet Union in the 1980s is what happens. They were pretty they were in pretty bad shape. They just put on a good game face. But I think that's what you should call your Saturday show. If Wednesdays is Shooting with Disabilities, Saturday show should be called the Free Cheese Show.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, exactly. I mean, the wall come crumbling down over there. I mean, back to what I'm saying, learning history in school, or what socialism really is, and why we shouldn't need it in this country, why the millenniums shouldn't be voting for it, but they've been indoctrinated this way in the school system for years now, for years and years and years. Everybody's a winner. Give them a trophy.
I mean, I work with a 30-year-old guy who believes in all that crap. It's like, whatever I've got to do to get what I need or want without having to work for it. And I don't understand that mentality. He would rather, like, when they offer extra hours, he'll come up with every excuse in the book not to work it. And then we're all stuck doing the work without an extra person to help. And then 2 weeks later, he'll complain about how he can't pay for this and pay for that because he doesn't have the money. It's like, you turn down overtime all the time, you idiot.
And
that's why you don't have anything.
He's probably the guy that steals toilet paper from work, too. And brings it
home. Yeah, and Band-Aids. And Band-Aids. Out of the first aid cabinet.
Yeah. Oh, there's cold medicine. Yeah. I knew them people. But see, I think it's you're talking about the week being so odd with all the craziness. I'm kind of optimistic about it, because I think the more that they are loud and boisterous and pushing for all their heinous things, it's going to get the mediocre guys that don't ever really get up, or once in a while get up off the couch, to actually get up and do something, because it is that thing, that fear that things are going to disappear and be pushed. It's going to get those people that don't usually do it all the time, or just infrequently getting up and getting into the fight. I believe they're going to hopefully stand up. Otherwise, they can't complain about anything.
Well, they preach the doom and gloom to fill coffers and to get people off of their butt, because if you don't, they won't do anything because they think somebody else will do it, or it won't happen here. But then you have the people that do get off their butt and don't need the doom and gloom, and they get so discouraged by all the doom and gloom. And it's like you just can't win no matter what approach you take.
Yeah, and as far as the doom and gloom, it depends. I mean, if it's supposedly people on our side that are just throwing out the doom and gloom, then that might help a little bit, but you do have to temper that down. But I mean, anybody that pays attention, or people that you talk to and kind of bring up things, you might not want to say, oh, they're taking it and they're doing this and they're going, go from 0 to 100 in 5 seconds. When you're talking to somebody, you might want to kind of gauge it back, but at least get them aware of the things that are going on, possibly things that are local that might not take them too much effort or whatever, to at least get them rolling, because once you get that big rock moving, it's easier to keep it going, I guess. But so I mean, I wouldn't say, oh, everything is, the sky is falling kind of stuff, but unless somebody is receptive to that stuff.
Say to me, the doom and gloom thing seems like it kind of has a cycle. People get interested, they get in, they get, aware of things, participate, and then it kind of builds up, and then it tends to, flip over to a cycle in a sense where you see the same thing happen again, so many weeks later, and eventually it's almost like crying wolf, I think, where people just have, say, well, that's just how it is. It's always going on. Whatever.
Yeah.
Basically.
That brings
I
up
think
something
that,
too.
It might be good to kind of try to throw other angles at it, because, that's only going to work for a certain amount of people, in my opinion, and for a certain amount of time. There's not, doesn't seem to be a lot of people that just, value rights and are willing to speak up for it. So burn them out on one area, and that's it.
Can I throw something out there, Rick?
Yes, you can.
We had a conversation, a couple weeks ago, or might have been last week. I don't pay attention to that stuff. But we were talking, I believe it was, when you're in the fight and you're looking, you got, things go good, things go bad. And when you're right in the situation, I was trying to explain it. And once I listened to it afterwards, I didn't complete the idea, which is, normal for me. But basically what I was saying is, when you're close to a subject like this, a topic that, you're in the fight, you watch every day, you follow, all the stories, good, bad, whatever. When you're close to something, it looks like the highs are really high, like standing at the edge of the ocean, the waves are big, but the farther you get back and kind of take a look, from a distance, it might not be as extreme. So that does help too, to once in a while take a step back and, focus on something just a little bit. Don't take your eye off it, but, at least focus on something that might be moving in the same kind of direction, or something else, like, your First Amendment rights or something. You can still be proactive and moving, but, if you step back and you're not just micro right up next to something, it doesn't look as big and as horrible. Because just like you said, moving in cycles, things like through one president and one administration and one thing, things are crazy. So, everybody's fighting, and then it goes to another administration, and then it's just that wave and ebb and flow kind of thing. So if you do step back a little bit, maybe it's not as, and that comes up too when you're talking to somebody, because somebody that's not in it every day, right there reading all the stories, all the things, it's just like watching the news. You get burned out. And if you talk to somebody, they're like, oh, it doesn't seem that bad. They might look at something, once a week instead of every day. So it's just something to think about, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is. I know what I was going to mention, slightly off topic a little bit to why it's on my mind, is the latest thing I'm seeing now is, since the Democrats can't, say anything about the economy, they're all starting to say now the only reason it's so good is because that's the way Obama left it to happen. He set everything up for the economy to be so good. These 3 years, 3.5 years, Trump's been in the office. It's got nothing to do with Trump. It was all to do. Obama set it all up. So that's the line they're using now because they know they can't beat it any other way. You know, I just happened to say that was on my mind. I had wrote it down here, and I wanted to mention it before I forgot about it. So I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I don't know. I'm just be honest with you. I'm getting sick and tired of all the politics right now. Just a lot of times. I mean, I've been normally, as I told everybody, I normally listen to Armed American Radio when I go to bed. I listen to the podcast to fall asleep to. I haven't even bothered listening to it all week because I'm getting tired of all the negativity in the politics and the gun world and everything else. I don't think, I mean, I worry, and I've said it before, I don't think it's going to happen in my lifetime, but I think within the next, 50 years, I don't know if, that there will be guns. The Second Amendment will be, done with. It'll be there on paper only,
I hope that's not the case.
Well,
some
I hope
people
it's
have
not.
their
But
way. That's what they're pushing for. But I certainly hope rural America wakes up and uses their voice before that day ever comes.
yeah, but see,
There's
what's
a
going to
lot
happen
going
is,
on in the world today with people that aren't armed, that are being, debatably gunned down on the streets by their government as we speak. So it's it's something I'd like to never see here.
yeah. Two Gun Kitty said the Yankee Marshal made a comment similar to that the Trump economy is benefiting from what Obama did, which is a joke. Hey, the Yankee Marshals are leftists anyway, so.
It's kind of known a lot of things, do pass over from the previous administration. So to me, I don't see how that ain't.
I mean, I'm not
really too different than any other.
I would say the first year to 18 months of a new administration, you would be getting some fallback from the previous administration, but not almost into 4 years of this one.
Well, you have to look at Clint. Go ahead.
I was just going to state, I believe when Trump came in, he right off the jump reversed a few things that was going on with our business, international trading and stuff. So I can't think of what it is off the top of my head, but I was under the impression he mixed it up kind of on his way in and still left half the old staff there to keep their job, which is debatably a mistake because they probably worked against him the whole time. So
what he's contributed that has helped the economy is to give tax cuts, not just to the rich, not just to businesses, but everybody. And if you're paying more in taxes under Trump, it's probably because you were paying a lot less, while the rest of us were paying for your sorry ass in the past. So I have no sympathy for you. The other thing is rolling back some of the limitations that are created that discourage business from growing or even starting in America, like EPA regulations, or a lot of people don't like trade tariffs. I love trade tariffs. They're great. They put us on equal footing with these people in these third world countries that don't have OSHA, don't have insurance, they don't have running water, and we're supposed to make a product out of the same material. And it was like, yeah, but now something costs 5 cents more at Walmart because I supported American jobs. You're very welcome, by the way, because those American jobs you're supporting are paying for your damn welfare to buy your tube of toothpaste or whatever. So in that sense, Trump has done some stuff by his policies that help the economy or have reversed some of the things that might have been hurting the economy. However, whether the president's a Democrat or a Republican, a lot of the things that have to do with the economy have to do with what's going on in America, what's going on in the world, and the working class people in America, I believe. The reason the economy was so great in the 90s is because people were dumping money into the stock market. Why were they dumping money in the stock market? Because in the 80s, Reagan created the 401k, and a lot of places were switching to that over pensions, which pensions would still be better, but still, that flooded the stock market with money. And then you had the internet come online, and these startup companies, internet companies that didn't even make anything were selling stocks, and people were day trading. So that had more to do with the American people putting their money in the stock market. That's why the 90s were so good versus, who was in office.
Yeah, I was just going to throw in the 90s also was when Clinton came in and threw up and changed back some of the taxes and stuff, that had been lowered in the 80s with President Reagan. Obviously, we got, the government got a lot more in their coffers because of that, because it was already, moving at the end of the 80s. And plus, we got rid of those communists.
Yes, we did. Yeah, I mean, as somebody said, the economy and stock market was very anemic during the entire 8 years under Obama. And as soon as Trump takes over, they shoot up. I mean, that was all Obama's planning. Bullshit. So that's in my
people want to complain about tax. This is what I call trailer park economics, and I'm no economics major by any stretch of the imagination. But there are a bunch of poor people out there that are poor by choice, and all they want to do is sit on their ass and bitch instead of work hard to get ahead. And they'll say, if you give tax cuts to the rich or you give tax incentives to businesses, it doesn't end up in my pocket. It just makes the rich richer. The thing is, the rich people, I've worked for them, okay? They're very weird compared to your middle class or lower class person. Their thought process might seem foreign to us, but their thought process is that they nickel and dime everything, and that's how they got rich. And if they can save 1 penny by moving all of their labor over to China, they'll do it. But if they can save a penny by moving it all back to America, they'll do that too. Whereas you or I wouldn't base our budget, our personal household budget, off of decisions like that. Well, that's the way they work. So if you do stuff to give the rich people incentive to the tax breaks where they trickle that money down by buying the yachts and the airplanes and spending, or giving them all these tax breaks because they make their company pay for everything. You think these rich people pay for their suits and their travel and their house and all this other stuff out of their own pocket? No, they have the company pay for all that stuff, but it doesn't matter. The company needs people to run the business. So if that is creating jobs and it's keeping Americans employed and it's making the company expand and grow, and even if they're just doing the shell game with they don't really make a product, they sell stocks, it's still helping the economy grow. And people who haven't worked with the people that make money doing that don't get it, and they just want to sit there and bitch and gripe. These rich people will take their money and run with it. So you kind of have to placate to them if you want to keep Americans working. But if you want to stay on welfare, go right ahead. I'll make more at a 9 to 5 any day.
Yeah. I'm not arguing with you there. I totally understand where you're coming from. So. Yeah, Unknown User says, it's funny that when the Republicans give tax breaks to the rich, I get more money in my paycheck. And when the Democrats tax the rich, I lose money out of my paycheck.
Me too.
Yeah, me too. I remember those days. So, I don't know. It just, normally how it goes is, though, if Trump makes it in 2020 for another 4 years, 2024 it will more likely be a Democrat in the White House. It seems to go that way. I don't know why. We need to break the cycle. You know, hey Honda. So I don't know. I'm getting too deep here, I think, and all this shit. You know, I'm depressing myself here, Patriot. Cheer me up. You know, I tell you what, though, talking about anti-gunners, going back to guns and politics and stuff, if that assault weapons ban, high what they call 30-round magazine ban, suppressor ban, all goes through in Virginia. I think it's going on the floor this week, I think. You know, and it passes the Senate, then it goes to Northam. As soon as he signs that in, the gun grabbers are going to run with that, saying, look, our gun control works. Virginia's doing it, so why can't we all do it? You know? So I think there's even a red flag law about ready to be passed in New Mexico, I believe. You know?
Okay,
So
what I miss?
What?
I said, what I missed? I had to yell at some kids.
Need it much. Maybe I said, cheer me up. I'm getting depressed.
Oh.
I'm getting in too deep in politics.
I would just, I mean, take it as it is. I mean, you got to know, you got to talk to people around, you know, go to the gun shop. Don't just sit there and watch news and all that nonsense, you know, and talk to people, you know, because there are people that have no clue of what's going on, you know, pass it around, actually talk to people, you know, and feel them out, see if they want to do anything, then pass on information. I mean, that's all you really can do. I mean, you can't sit here and fret about it. And I mean, you can sit online and scream and cry and all that stuff, but there's enough of those people around. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't, I wouldn't dwell on a lot of stuff. I would figure out what you can do and who you can talk to and what kind of information you can pass on. And then you kind of have to let it go. You know, don't get an ulcer.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff stinks, I think. But
Patrick said we're overdue for a one-term president. Something to think about. You know. So,
yeah, but you know, you I mean, the thing with the three there, you know, it came up last night, whatever, with the Joe Biden and the socialist guy there,
Bloomberg and AOC.
Yeah, well, yeah, you know,
Moron of the week.
About that. Yeah, well, you got Joe Biden is pretty much over. I mean, they can't even prop him up, even if they wanted to. AOC, I thought her term is coming up or something. That there's other people running that, you know, could be less worse than her. Which, whatever. I don't pay attention to her. The only one I really pay attention to is that mini AOC, that little kid. That she's kind of funny sometimes. But the Bloomberg thing with dumping money in and stuff like that, you know, I mean, when my kid says, you know, what is this? I see these ads all the time, you know, and ask, you know, I don't know. I mean, it is what it is.
He is running a lot of ads.
Well, it's that, you know, you got to think about it, though. If there's that many people out there that are oblivious to, you know, what would happen with that guy, you know, I mean, that's what it is.
Who was it that said Bloomberg is mainly known on the East Coast, right? And the West Coast mainly. The middle of America really don't know who he is. So he's blasting them with all these TV commercials. And everybody's like, what a great guy he is.
I think that's, you know, he's got enough money he's dumped into his little nonprofits that are making money, whatever. And I think most of those commercials are just for the people that are in there to kind of stir them up a little bit and to trick people that don't pay attention to anything. I mean, you know, even people that don't watch regular news or anything like that, you know, on just regular TV shows, you know, they're all over the place. But
yeah,
I don't know. I mean,
yeah. Well, anyway, where I was going with this is back to like I said, Ighan just said Colorado has red flag laws already. New Mexico just about ready. I think the governor's about ready to sign them, or he has signed them. You know, I mean, but then again, where I'm at here in Indiana, I didn't know it till I got here, and I've said this many times before. Indiana has had a red flag law since 2005. You know, they don't. I mean, restriction. They call it something. It's named after a policeman who was shot. I can't think of his name now, but that's what the bill's named after. If you type in red flag law Indiana, you see it come up. You know, and from what I can see, it has the same thing in it where, you know, they got to have a really good reason to come in and take your guns without due process, but it's there without due process. That is in there still, but it seems like from what I can figure out, it hasn't been abused here in this state yet. You know, so
one thing I would add is the whole Virginia thing. I've heard it a couple times over the past week or so on some different chats and that, you know, people didn't get out and vote and stuff, right? That's kind of a consensus on with some people that, you know, the people that should have got out and vote didn't or whatever. But
yeah,
from what I hear, most of those places didn't have anybody to vote for anyways. So it was like, you know, I mean, like in my area, I mean, it is rare to have, you know, anybody challenge, you know, anybody, you know, a judge, forget about it. There's like one, you know, or whatever, or, you know, his cousin runs against him or something. So, you know, in those areas that, you know, when you only have one person come up, you know, I mean, whose fault is that? You know, you can't blame just the people that are running or, you know, doing the bad things. You know, that means an off time, check and see who's, you know, running and who's available in your area. You know, and you know, suggest it to somebody. You might know somebody that be good, or you might be good at something.
Yeah,
So,
but can't you pencil in a name? So let's say in your area, there's nobody that's going to support your right, but you know the person that's running, the person that's automatically going to get elected, is going to take away your right. So you go vote for Mickey Mouse. Take the vote away. Or Ross Perot, either. What's the difference?
Yeah, what was that? The brothers or the Smothers brothers, weren't they written in year after year? That's old guy stuff, but yeah, but that's, what is that doing? That ain't doing anything. That's not helping anything.
Every year I vote for Sean Connery for the board of directors of the NRA.
You know,
that's funny. You get a giggle out of it, but you know, what works more, you know, if you know somebody that could do it and get them out there, or, you know, track somebody down. I mean, just like here in our area, the only one that's running against anybody in the is you know, John James, you know, and he's got, you know, whatever. I mean, you know, if you got to look and you got to find these people, you know, there are people that are running, but if there's a hole, especially in your local area, you know, I mean, my local town, the treasurer or whatever, anyways, a couple of the people, they run unopposed all the time. So, you know, as a joke, I'm going to, you know, start running because it'd be fun.
Yeah. See, but a lot of times too, I mean, you're right. And that's like some of these big politicians, you know, the ones in Washington, they run unopposed all the time. And that's how they keep getting reelected all the time, you know. But talking about that, I mean, where you mentioned AOC, somebody's running against her in her district. I mean, she hasn't done a damn thing in her district since she got elected. So I think that's going against her. But she has managed to get, last month, she got over $1 million into her campaign for re-election. And that was just in 1 month. You know what I'm saying? So it's somebody likes her. Yeah. I don't know. Patrick says all states have an unofficial red flag law, i.e., see anything, say something. You know, true. He's right. You know, but I mean, it needs one I don't know. It needs one case to be taken to the Supreme Court to prove it's unconstitutional. Then the rest will fall. But then again, I say that once a law is being passed and it's on the books, it's damn hard to get rid of it. It really is. So it's a tough one because that's why they shouldn't be voted in to start with. It's like they say. I mean, it's better to ask for forgiveness than ask for permission because it's harder to get permission than it is forgiveness. So I don't know.
I know that's true in Michigan. Oh, go ahead.
I was just stating it does seem hard to remove laws, but I agree with Patriot. I think a lot of these smaller areas, there isn't a lot of people running, and in a way that kind of is on us. A lot of people are kind of scared to step out and do that, but I think more of us should to provide an option for like-minded people. I think a lot of people are probably intimidated by that process. I mean, honestly, I would be. I don't have money to run any kind of campaign or anything like that. So, how would you even go about it? Is there a place you can go to, figure out what steps you would need for what? Maybe information for people would be a good place to start. Maybe we can get more people out.
I would imagine that. I'm trying to think, where would you go to find out information?
First thing I would do is start small. I mean, how about a school board? City council, that stuff. I mean, Flint, Michigan has a council member that was convicted of murder, and he's sitting on the council. So anybody can do it. So,
yeah, and that's where I'm saying, like people say that we need a third party, to run against the Republicans and Democrats in the major elections. A third party will never work. I.e., like throwing them in there at all. You've got to start at as you said, at the ground level, at your local school districts, town districts, and once the country or the state or whatever gets used to this and it gets bigger and bigger and spreads, then it would work. But just throwing in, unless you're a Bloomberg, right? And he said, "Oh, I'm running for the Green Party," or whatever. And he throws all his billions of dollars behind himself, that might work. But otherwise, it ain't never going to work, in my opinion. And, yeah, I mean, but then again, so you say you've got where I lived when I lived in Rhode Island, there was a Republican Party in the state. It didn't have, there wasn't many Republicans in the Rhode Island government because they had the Democrats had a super majority all the time. So it's hard to find somebody to run against. You say there's only one person running. It's hard to find somebody to run against them. There's one senator there that he's a Democrat, and he's been this is state, not federal. This is state. He's been the state senator for God knows how long, since the state was invented. Nobody's ever run against him because he's a Democrat. Everybody in town's a Democrat. Everybody in the state's a Democrat. You know what I'm saying? So a Republican will never stand a chance. Oh, I was wrong. Two Gun Kitty said AOC did do something in her district. She got Amazon to pull out. Yeah. Yeah. And they don't like her for that either. So that could be her downfall when it comes to re-election time. So, I don't know. It's why I'm being doom and gloom today. I have no idea. Maybe because I've been stuck indoors for 2 days. It's damn freezing outside. It looks nice. You look out the window and the sun's shining. but you open the goddamn door and it freezes your balls off before you even step out. You know?
You could always do your giveaway.
Get some bad
competition
cheese or
time,
something.
you know. So, yeah, you're right. I could. Mind you, I do need to do last week's quiz.
That's the giveaway.
Yes, last week's quiz. What was that? Oh, yeah. What I wanted to know was the Houston Police Department. The officers are required to purchase their own weapons, and there's a list that they can choose from, and it's a Smith and Wesson. This is in 2018. It might have changed since then, but this is what I was going by: a Smith and Wesson M&P 40, the Glock 22, the G22C, the G23, the G23C, or the Springfield Armory XD40, or the 6-hour P226 or P229, either in double action, single action, or double action only, or what you call it. So that was the answer. And the winner, let me find my main, where did I do with it? Here it is. I had 5 entries. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's see who wins. Come on. I got the little thing spinning here. Okay. Oh, man, he hasn't entered for a while, and the first time he enters, he wins. Son of a bitch. Unknown user is the winner.
Well, congratulations.
He hasn't entered for a while, and the first time he enters, he wins.
He's a hard worker.
You know?
He puts out a lot of links.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Good job. Congratulations.
Yeah, so unknown user's the winner for this week. Yeah. It's stupid to have so many guns allowed. They should have one model so they can all use the same mags in case of an emergency. Yeah. All right. Now, this week's question for the swag pack. And, it's got how many has it got in it? It's got one. It's got 2 patches, I think. Yeah, and a bunch of stickers. And this one is real easy. It's so easy that I'm ashamed to actually use it. I mean, but it's email only, so don't go put it in the chat. So the question is, where is it? In the Patriot in the Dark's latest firearm project, what is it? There you go.
I know that one.
I know you do.
Okay. Oh.
So what I want to know is, and Patriot in the Dark's firearm project, his latest one, what is it? So there you go. That's for the swag pack for this week.
And it's not a Pop-Tart.
No, it's not.
But you might cringe when you see him almost chop off his digits.
Oh, yeah. Blind Guy Firearms. I love him.
Oh, yeah. Hey, now all I want to say is last week when I was doing the meat thing, I mentioned them before, but the bearded butchers, they put a video. Actually, I think they got one out the other day about making elk sausages or something. But the one before that, they showed, because they're a licensed slaughterhouse as well, and it showed them how to skin a whole beef. I find that kind of stuff fascinating. So, but I mean, they're on YouTube called the Bearded Butchers. They're based in Ohio. So if anybody lives in Ohio, they ought to go check them out. It looks like good stuff they produce there. So anyway, what was I going to say? My cut of the week. I be honest with you, I forgot to think of one, so I got to come up with one real quick. You know.
Have you done anything with poultry?
What do you want to know about poultry?
Crap. I don't know. I don't think I've heard you talk about poultry at all. Maybe I missed that show.
Poultry. As I said, here's a little story about poultry. I learned I actually, you know, as everybody knows, I spent most of my youth and in England, and I went into an apprenticeship program to be in England. They call it meat cutters. They call you butchers over there. So I went in as an apprentice butcher, and talking about, I mean, over there, poultry over there, like when whole chickens come in, they still got all the front feathers on them, still got the head, the guts, and the feet and everything in them. So you have to finish plucking them and cleaning them out, and you know, and all that stuff with poultry. Same with turkeys, which is poultry as well. Turkeys are done the same way. We had to pluck them, clean them. You know, the biggest turkey that I ever had to do was actually, it was a charity bought it, and they gave it to us to do. But it was Smithfield Market in England is the oldest and biggest meat market at the time in the world. And every year, cause Christmas is big turkeys in England. Every year they have a contest for the largest turkey. Well, this turkey won. It was 74 pound. The thing was enormous. Well, I somehow the charity that got it brought it to me and asked me to dress it for them. So I mean, I had to pluck that thing, and what you do when you come to the feet, you crack them, and we had this metal V that used to put on the wall, and you put the foot in there, then you pull down on the leg, and it pulls all the tendons out of the drumstick. You know, and I tell you, I wasn't as big as I am now then, but I was still a big boy. I mean, it took two of us to pull the tendons out of that thing. It was so tough, but we done it. But where I was going with this is, when you do this, you take it, you've plucked it, you've taken the feet off, then before you take the feet off, you take the guts out, and basically you cut a hole around the ass, stick your fingers in there, scrape them down each side of the rib cage to loosen the lungs. Then you pull the whole stuff out. Then what you do is you cut the heart, cut the livers off, take the gizzard, open it up, because a poultry, their gizzards, when you open them up, are full of stones, because they're always pecking at the ground. So I mean, all the stones and pebbles fall out, you know, and that's your giblets basically. You throw them in with the neck in a bag, and you stuff them back inside, you know. Then you either do it that, or if you do it correctly, you use what they call a needle, and you thread it through the wing, through the joint of the drumstick, through the center of the carcass, out through the drumstick, out through the wing, flip it up and tie it off, where it's all bunched up nice and tight. And and as people say, the plump breasts are pushed up to make the bird look bigger and better. I mean, that's how you do it. And I used to do pheasants as well when it was in season, because I was a licensed game dealer. Now, pheasants are kind of tough. I mean, they're hard. You have to pluck them. They're harder to pluck because the skin is softer, and you can rip the skin very easily. But once you got them plucked, and you cut the hole in the back, and you stick your hands in there to rip out the thing. What you got to be careful of, because most people will leave a pheasant to hang for a week before they clean it. Don't ask me why. That's the way it was in England. They figured it was tenderizing it or making it better. God knows. But if one's been a week or longer before it's been cleaned, and you put your fingers in there, normally if it where the shotgun, because most of them have been shot when they go pheasant shooting with a shotgun, and where the pellets had hit the bird, it might have broken its rib cage. So when you stuck your fingers in there and you're going down the thing, and especially if you stuck I've done it many a time. You stuck your finger on the bone on the inside and you pull the stuff out. I tell you, within a half hour, your finger is swollen up, bright red, because it's full of poison. That's how fast you get him off of those pheasants. So so you have to where you cut it and it's bleeding, you have to get it and you have to squeeze your finger to get all the shit out of there. It's that's what else you want to know about poultry?
Well, Rick, I'm kind of taking my lunch break right now here at work, and I was eating, and the first time you said tendons, I had a mouthful of food, and I about spit it out. So thank you.
No problem.
Your description about a gut of chicken is almost like gutting a deer, just on a smaller scale.
Yeah.
And I've heard that that with stuff like that you've got to be careful about all kinds of germs and diseases and stuff. That's why they recommend you cook it all the way through.
Yep. Also, I mean, if you want to, cutting the chicken is not. Just get yourself a steak knife, and once you've got it all clean, just put your knife right through the center of the breast. It split it, and when you come to the backbone, you can either try to cut it with your knife or use a cleaver and chop through it. But normally I use a 12. I had a 14-inch steak knife. I mean, it was thick. The blade had to be about, 2 inches, wide. I mean, it was it was a real thick blade, but it was it's fairly wide, so I could hit the bone with that and it would break it. That's how I used to get break chickens up. Then you grab hold of it, you grab hold of the drumstick, and if you cut it right, you go right through where it breaks the breast and the leg, it will just come right off straight, no problem. And you take the drumstick off through the joint. Same with the breast. You can take the wing from the breast right through the joint off.
I have a question about turkeys, though.
Yeah.
How do you feed the turkey, the chicken, and the duck to get them inside? Can they really swallow it that much?
I had to do that one time. I had to put
turduckens or whatever they call it.
Yeah. You just take a duck. Once you've cleaned them both out, you stick the other one inside it, from the back end. So also I used to be able, I haven't done it in years, but I used to bone out turkeys, and I used to bone them out without cutting the skin. I would bone the carcass out from the inside, and flip it out inside out for the whole carcass to come out in one piece. And you take off the legs, and you take off, you get all the bones out, and you stuff it all back in and tie it up. You could stuff it too, but most people just had it boned out and tied. I used to do that a lot. I used to do I've done all kinds of shit. I've done so much I've forgotten most of it.
So is it the same with like Cornish hens? Those little itty bitty things, are they basically the same thing as a chicken?
Yeah,
and
they're
turkey?
all cleaned the same way.
And it's just itty bitty. And
yeah, just instead of putting a couple of fingers inside, you only put one or two. You know what I'm saying? To pull the stuff out. You're doing it personally yourself. If it's going through a factory, they have machines to do that nowadays. But what I used to hate doing was also turkeys. Easter time in England, they used to have turkeys for the main meal. And the problem with doing turkeys at Easter time is when you stuck your hand inside. Hope you haven't got a sandwich on you, Squib. When you stuck your hand on the inside and you go down the rib cage and you start pulling it back, you feel something gooey, and as you pull it back and out it comes. It's normally eggs without they don't have the shell on them, so your hands full of sort of like yellow oat all over your fingers and stuff like that from turkey's eggs, immature turkey's eggs and stuff. I've even pulled actual full eggs out of a turkey before in my time, with shell and all, So there we go.
Okay, what's the difference between a whole chicken and a Cornish hen? Are they both chickens or what?
No, a Cornish hen is not a chicken. It's like a chicken, but it's not a chicken. It's an actual. Oh fuck! Now I've forgotten that you asked me that.
It ain't a partridge or anything, is it?
What?
Like a partridge or a grouse or something?
Yeah, something
Quail.
like that. It's a small animal like that.
Yeah, they're smaller than chickens.
Oh yeah.
That's smart.
Now capon is bigger
I
than
think the military fed that to us in food lines a lot.
Yeah.
They're like little mini chickens.
yeah. A capon is a big chicken. A capon is actually they say it's a castrated chicken. So
To take this off in the weeds,
capons can get up to 10, 12 pound. That's big for a chicken.
there's a local farm here that grows turkins, which I thought was just a joke, but it's some breed with turkey and chickens, and they're got
Somehow they
heads or no feathers, or I don't know. Maybe they're not from the area.
I think it's still that,
Things going on over there.
Wait, they sell Turkins or they sell Merkins? Because there's a big difference there.
I mean, to do that, I think is terrible. Personally, myself, to engineer something like that, But then again, you can say that about most things. I mean, look at dog breeds today, and even cattle breeds have been changed over the years, and stuff like that, and so.
It does seem strange to make up different animals to be eating and stuff.
Yeah, it does to me too.
Us playing kind of, as they say, the God factor always makes them there.
Yeah, pretty soon we're going to have fish that taste like chicken.
What was the weirdest animal that you did, butchered? Have you done like alligator or anything that was kind of odd in your travels?
No, be honest with you, no. I've no. I'm trying to think. I've done rabbits. I've done jackrabbits.
Shark?
Yeah. Shark steaks.
You ever make shark steaks?
Delicious.
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't go and see. Now over here in the United States, fish is part of the meat business, right? But over in England, it was a separate field altogether. So, but I did dabble in it a little bit. I have done some. I've done shark. I mean, I've had a shark. I remember one time I had a shark. I mean, it was missing its head, but the rest of the fish was there. I mean, it was gutted already, and I broke it down and cut it into steaks and stuff like that. I've done.
I didn't see a draw to shark. I've had shark steak. And,
I'm trying to think
like
back to.
Very much. So, I don't know.
I'm trying to think. Well, anything strange that I've cut? No, not really. No. I mean, the weirdest. I mean, the thing that. The weirdest thing that I've sold or dealt with, I didn't have to do anything with it. Really, is a what in the hell's the word they use for it now? It's a baby pig. There's a word they use for it. It's only maybe a couple of weeks old at the most. And people buy that as a delicacy, you know. So I've done that kind of stuff. So I just want to. That's about the weirdest thing I've done. So, anything else you guys want to know? Yeah. Suckling, that's it.
Curious if you're going to give
Man,
us.
Midnight Range.
Curious if you're going to give us another Rick story.
Nah, I don't have any. I mean, I do, but I don't have one on top of my head. I'm trying to think. What have I got?
Yeah, all right.
Nah. Nope. Oh, I remember one. It was actually, I was working for the U.S. government at the time, and I had a military truck license thing. I can't remember what size truck it was, but it was. I mean, it was. Damn, I'm trying to think what size truck it was. It was big, but I didn't.
Deuce and a half?
It could have
Was it a
been.
deuce and a half?
It's. I mean, it had. I mean, they come in different types, but some of them come that they would have benches in them where troopers could sit inside them.
Yeah,
stuff.
that's a deuce.
Over the top.
Yep.
I drove one of those, and I would actually, because I had to go, I was the only one at the time at this particular commissary I was working at that had a license to drive it. Because the military guy that normally drive it wasn't there. So now I was the only civilian federal employee that had a license to drive a military vehicle. So I got to drive it. So they loaded it up. We were transferring. It wasn't any. I was in the meat department, by the way, but it had nothing to do with meat department. It was all grocery stuff. Because I worked in the commissary. They loaded that goddamn thing up with grocery, and I jumped in. No, I said I had a license to drive the thing. When I got the license, I only drove it one time. When I got the license, I had the license for a couple of years by then. So I've never really driven one on the English. I drove it around base when I got the license, and I never actually took it on the English road before. You know, and you got to remember, I've been driving in England for years, so driving on the other side of the road is not a problem. But driving a big truck like that down these narrow British lanes is another story. Because I remember I was coming down, and I got a guy with me because they always send you in pairs, and we're bullshitting, talking along, and I'm coming down through this lane, and I see another vehicle coming, and I'm thinking, shit. So I start to pull over in this road before he could squeeze by. But what I didn't allow for was this house. There was a bunch of houses down one side, and they had strung up a wooden. It was real thin, like bamboo stake fence down one side. Well, I caught that with the front bumper, and I pulled over, and I'm driving off, and that fence is following me down the road. I pulled the whole damn thing out. The government wasn't too happy with me because they had to pay the bill to have it repaired. Yeah. No, I mean, that's something off the top of my head I was thinking about, you know. So, all right.
Good.
That's it. Anybody else got anything you want to talk about or say? No? So we're good. So we're calling it quits then. And I can go. I'm going to have some hamburgers tonight. But do I really want to go out in the freezing cold to cook them on the grill? I might have to change my dinner plans because I really don't want to go out in the cold.
Definitely tastes better if you do.
No, true.
Grilled burgers are always better.
Yeah. Hey, I've done it before. I mean, I can go out there, throw them on the grill, and run back in, then go back out, flip them, then run back in again. You know what I'm saying? I can always do that. You know?
Yeah.
But because normally when I'm cooking them, I stay out there, look at the neighborhood and see what's going on, But I might not do that tonight. So, you got any last minute things you want to plug or anything, Squib?
No. Everybody have a good weekend.
All right. Did you finish your lunch okay?
Yeah, it was a chicken salad, like the salad with chunks of chicken. Hopefully, no tendons.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm back to work on this machine, doing electrical checks on this machine.
Okay. All right. New York Outcast, you got any plugs or shout outs you want to do?
No, I would just state, fair warning to anybody eating lunch that asks you questions about food for the future. So everybody knows you might want to finish your lunch before you ask how things are made or dealt
Yes,
with.
yes. I'm glad you mentioned that. Squib did ask me.
Yeah, yes, he did. So be careful what you ask for. So
That's right. That's right.
You know, I just kind of thought he would
Good weekend,
give some
everybody.
sort of a poultry recipe or just something. I didn't think he was going to go into the whole, well, now this is how you remove stones from a gizzard. Of course, that does answer the question. Although, when I was a kid, I ate chicken gizzards all the time. I didn't even know what they were. And, later on when I found out what they were, I'm like, how come I never tasted any pebbles? I didn't know you guys split them open and rinsed them out or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, Patriot, you got any shout outs or plugs?
Yeah. If you have a chance, check out the hashtag Help22Veterans. SMK is doing a huge giveaway with silver and all coins and stuff I don't understand, but check it out. It's really cool. There's a bunch of guys doing shout out videos and stuff like that, but check it out. It's a good cause. And I do have 2 firearm projects in the mix. Some of those Patreon guys, all 4 of them have seen the start of the second project. So yeah, check it out. And thank you as always for having a great show and inviting me.
Well, I appreciate you guys showing up to be on the panel. It makes it a lot more fun. So, all right. I want to say thank you to everybody in the chat for showing up. I really do appreciate you guys being here. And I'll be back again on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern with Shooting with Disabilities. So we'll talk to everybody then. So all I need to say here is good night or good afternoon, wherever you're at, and I will see you all later.
Bye, Sabrina.